So recently, I've been absolutely obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, I've watched it 10 nights in a row so far with no signs of wanting to stop, and have been listening to the soundtrack on repeat every day ever since I first saw it. I really don't know what it is about this movie, but it has completely taken over my life for the past few weeks. So naturally, I've been itching to make a video about it. And one thing I've been wanting to talk about is Jinu, more specifically about the talk going around of people wanting him to return in a sequel. And I've been seeing all the posts, cope, and theories about how it could happen. But me personally, I feel like he shouldn't return. Look, I love Jinu. His character was compelling, his dynamic with Rumi was great, and my favorite song from the movie is Free, which is a duet between him and Rumi. And you can even ask my friends that were there with me when we watched the movie for the first time how devastated I was watching him sacrifice himself. So it's not that I don't want him to return because I'm a Jinu hater. In fact, it's because I like him so much that I don't want to see him return, which probably doesn't really make much sense, but let me try to explain. So when it comes to Jinu's character, we learn very early on in the movie from Guima that for the 400 years he's known Jinu, Jinu hasn't done anything that didn't serve himself. And as we learn more about his past, we get a better understanding of that as well. He may show some form of regret and sorrow for his actions, but he still ultimately makes the selfish decisions in the end, and has accepted the fact that that's just who he is and all he'll ever be. That's why he wanted the memories erased, and he was fully down with the plan to help Guima defeat the Hunters and even acted like a bit of an asshole. It wasn't until he saw Rumi's patterns that he started to have doubts again. Seeing someone like Rumi, a human who's part demon, yet is still a hunter, still trying to do the right thing and be a good person, and not given to her demon side, shattered his worldview and how he views himself. Seeing a hunter who's part demon made him finally start to think that maybe it was possible for a guy like him, who has so many regrets, to actually try to be a better person and make the right decisions. This is basically the back and forth battle he has in his head throughout the movie, from the talks with Rumi that give him hope that he can change, and then the talks with Guima where he is manipulated into believing he can't be anything more than his mistakes and failures. And because Guima is so good at manipulating people's emotions and getting in their head, Jinu was once again about to make the wrong and selfish decision, but once again it was Rumi's unwillingness to give up that gave him the last change of heart in the end. After the Idol Wars fiasco, Rumi was at her lowest point. Her patterns on who she was exposed to everyone, she lost her friends, and her demon side started to take over, and the honeymoon fell apart. Jinu's talk with her after that was very much similar to what Guima would say to him. He was fully convinced a demon is all he'll ever be, and tried to convince her of that as well. But then seeing her, despite all of that, still show up to take on Guima and not giving up, even if it meant doing it alone, is what inspired him to have his final change of heart. If she wasn't willing to give up and still do the right thing no matter how bad things look, no matter how bad things got, then why should he? So he then finally made the right decision and sacrificed himself to help Rumi. This is such a perfect and beautiful moment and ending for his character that holds so much weight. This is why I feel bringing him back would be a mistake. He went from someone who made a selfish decision and sacrificed his humanity and his family for his own well-being, to someone who made a selfless decision to sacrifice himself for Rumi and all of humanity's well-being. His character arc was leading up to this the whole time, and him deciding not just to do the right thing, but also willing to sacrifice himself for it in the end is so powerful to me. And bringing him back would just be a spit in the face and ruin the moment. The moment loses all impact to me if you just know he's going to be back later anyways. This was such a perfect ending for his character that it would just feel cheap if he was brought back, and just feel like a fan service decision. And if they really were planning on bringing him back in a future sequel anyway, I'm not sure why they would go the sacrifice route in the first place. They could have easily just had him help Rumi push back the blast from Guima and stand by her side instead of taking the brunt of the attack. Or had him attack and distract Guima to disrupt the attack, and take the pressure off of Rumi, and then had him fight alongside Huntrix. Then you could have had him remain alive and still have given him his redemption arc. But because they did decide to go with the sacrifice, I feel like they have to commit, or the whole moment just feels cheap and is ruined for me. Now, I'm no story writer, so who knows, maybe there is a satisfying way they can bring him back that I just haven't thought of. And I think that even if they do decide to bring him back, I trust the writers to still make a great story, and may make me change my mind. Right now, I feel like it would be a mistake. The only Saja boys I could see returning and it making a little bit of sense would be Baby and Romance, because those are the only two that for some reason we don't see die. After Jinu's sacrifice, Mystery charges at Zoe and she kills him, but Baby is nowhere to be seen. Then we see Mira knock Romance back with the butt of her weapon before she kills Abby, but we don't see him outright die either. And that brings up a little nitpick I had with the movie. I wish the final fight between Huntrix and the Saja boys themselves would have been a little bit longer and more grandiose. Though I heard there was like hours of content that had to be cut from the movie, So if I had to guess, that's probably why we don't have a longer fight between them. Regardless, that is basically why I feel like Jinu shouldn't be brought back. But one more thing I wanted to talk about was one of the theories I've seen in particular, that being that Jinu is trapped in Rumi's sword. At first, I thought it was just a joke, and I love the fan arts of it and I think they're cute and funny, but I feel like overall the theory doesn't really work, and I just don't agree with it. A person and their soul are two different things. A person doesn't exist and live in their soul. I mean, Jinu was still alive and still himself for over 400 years without a soul. The movie shows us a person can lose and regain their soul, but if the body is killed or destroyed, they are gone for good. We quite literally see Jinu get killed and him get disintegrated. He gave his soul to Rumi because he knew he was dying, and his soul just gave her a power boost that caused her sword to get an upgrade. Similar to how when the fans were singing along to what it sounds like moments later, their souls were also giving Huntrix a power boost to defeat Guima and create a new Honmoon. To me, the sword changed because of the power boost she got from Jinu's soul, not that him and his soul now reside inside the blade. He just gave Rumi his soul in the same way he gave Guima his soul 400 years ago. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. These are basically all my thoughts and opinions on the theories and cope of Jinu possibly returning in a sequel, and why I feel like I wouldn't like to see it happen, even though I do love his character. I am also planning on making another video on K-pop Demon Hunters soon about what I would like to see from any potential sequels or series. With all that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree with any of my takes, or if you think I shouldn't be allowed to talk and have opinions on anything anymore in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell me how you feel about the possibility of Jinu returning, and thanks for watching.